Marissa says, I've been having lots of stomach issues, weight loss, and poor digestion or some indigestion. Um, so, yeah. So again, I mean, I just need way more information to be able to understand why you're losing weight. But so stomach issues, one of these kind of like go-to things that you can try as a piece of, getting better might be Triphala. So whether it's, diarrhea or constipation type of stomach problem, it can be helpful for either one. So it does seem to have a balancing effect on the digestive tract. But again, it might not be optimal for you in your situation, and there might be a lot of other things that are really important for you to do that I just can't figure out based on these three symptoms. I need to understand more of the story. So, again, like your body might be doing the right thing by you, right? So this might be a temporary phase, and you may not be something that you should be concerned about. On the other hand, it could be something that you need to help your body with in a certain way, but I am not sure because I just don't have enough information. All right, so just looking at the live comments. Diane says, my brother followed the CDC vaccine protocol for his 11 and 14-year-old kids. He woke up with COVID and they didn't take that jab. In retrospect, he feels his children may have some cognitive impairment from following the childhood vaccine programs. They are not autistic or severely impaired, but have milder issues at their age now. Is there a detox that could help? Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to support your children's brain development. Probably the first thing you should do is get them off of social media and the computer and the cell phones, which they're probably using. So I think that, TikTok and these other things, they're causing more brain damage than probably anything else that the kids are being exposed to. It could be vaccines, but the most likely thing is TikTok, honestly. So, if you get caught up in this kind of like echo chamber of like vaccine injury, you start to imagine that like everyone who got the shot is like severely injured and has a problem and is like their health is deteriorating. But if you go and talk to people who are in the echo chamber of like there's no problem with the shots, a lot of them don't know anyone who has any changes or problems, and like they don't think that they have problems, et cetera, right? And it's not that they don't have problems. I mean, they have blinders on to some of the problems that are going on. So somebody in their group might have died or whatever, and they believe that it was like, something else, and it was actually the shot. But my point is that so like if your rate of like autism doubles or triples, right? I mean, autism is probably a bad example because it's like so common nowadays. But, if you have something that is occurring like 0.1% of the time, and then it doubles to 0.2% of the time, it's still pretty tiny and small incidents. And most of the people who have like issues, you gotta basically, like in medicine, it's like when you hear hooves, think horses, not zebras. That's basically what I'm trying to get at here, that everyone has brain damage from TikTok, okay, and from Twitter. And some of the people who have brain damage from TikTok and Twitter also have brain damage from the vaccines, okay? So I know for sure that if they're on TikTok and Twitter, they have brain damage from that. I don't know if they have brain damage from the vaccines, even if they got the vaccines. So the first thing to take care of is the thing that's certainly a problem, right? And the second thing to take care of, if I could, but see, like you could probably convince your brother that TikTok and these other things are causing brain damage. That's probably something that you could get that through to him. And it may be impossible, literally impossible, to convince him to like detox them from the shots. So I get a lot of people who come to me and they're like, my brother's kids or my sister's kids or like some kids that aren't mine have like a vaccine injury. What can I do for them? And it's like, you can't do anything for them because you can't convince their parents to do anything. So like, even if I give you the solution, go to Hakeem Shabazz, come to me, go to an expert in vaccine injury, they can fix you up. It's not going to happen. And I know that people are concerned and they wish they could do something, but you can't. So do what you can do. Work on the vaccines. I mean, I'm not saying don't do it. Keep working on it. Hail Mary pass, sometimes it connects. But at the same time, try to work on the low-hanging fruit that you might be able to have some beneficial effect in their lives. So um, that and things like photobiology, right? Like, the science is there, and like there's no one like fighting really hard against it. I mean, people just don't know about it, right? So you might also be able to convince them to like, turn off the lights after sunset. You might be able to show them some videos about like how for the last 50 years we've had data showing that kids go crazy when they're under fluorescent lights every day at school. And if you just turn them off, they start acting normal. So yeah, there's a lot you could do that could, and even if they have vaccine injury, like they may be resilient enough that if you remove all the other stress that you can remove, their body can just deal with the vaccine injury and correct it and get over it. And their brains might be so resilient that they start acting normal despite having some stress and injury from, the vaccine. So these things are not always things that you have to do something about. It's if you stop doing the wrong thing, and start doing the right thing. I mean, they can fix this at any time. So if your brother can't be convinced, eventually, once the kids are old enough, you can go to them and try to work on them and maybe convince them. And oftentimes that might end up working, even if it takes 10 years when they're like 21 and 24, or even if it takes 20 years when they're 31 and 34, or 30 years, right? Like eventually, if they get to the point where they get sick enough or develop some sort of serious problem, they may be open to the thing that you've been kind of trickling into their ear for the last 30 years that like, oh, maybe I need to detox. Maybe I need to, take care of those things that I got exposed to growing up that my parents did, in my best interest. They thought it was best for me. But it sounds like maybe your brother's open to it because it looks like he didn't take the shot, but he gave it to his kids. So I don't know. It's kind of weird, huh?